Hi everyone, Rusty Dog here. Still exploring the galaxy. I haven't moved very far away since my last live stream, and that's because I'm still in a neutron star cluster, and there's plenty here for me to scan. In fact, I can show you on my map how many I've still got to go. So it's everything that begins with PRU. So I want to scan all of these, or at least visit them, and they're all neutron stars. Oh God, this is going to take me ages, because once you get in there, you don't know what's going to be inside, whether whether you want to take the time to scan the system, and sometimes there's another star with some worlds that might be interesting, and they may be a couple of 100,000 light seconds away, sorry. So this I've been here already 3 days doing this, but only spending a few hours each time. But this is going to take me another few days before I even start to progress further out into the galaxy. So far I am there. And if it hadn't have been for this neutron star cluster, thanks to Tommy B for that one, I'd have probably been quite well into about here by now, if not further. But hey, I'm quite happy to spend time here. I'm not in any rush. I don't know how many are here, but so that's where I'm up to right now. I'm just about to make a jump into the next one. So let's do this. So, topic of conversation today. This is something that I was looking at. It was a thread I was reading last night on the forum, and I thought perhaps I'll mention this in a video tomorrow, make it a subject of a video. And so here I am. Now, just before I started this video, I noticed that Obsidian Ant has put a video out, somewhat similar to what I was going to discuss, which kind of made me think, oh, that's kind of coincidental timing. Should I still do my video? And I thought, well, yeah, I will, because it's not just about PvP, but it's about PvE and the suggestion of Open PvE, and my thoughts on the whole thing. Now, it is my thoughts. Everything that you're going to hear is just purely my own opinion. So I want to make that absolutely clear. The rest is probably entirely fictitious. So I have a particularly bad throat today, so there's going to be probably silent gaps in between my speech, and that's me just muting the microphone while I clear my throat. It's just one of those days. Some are worse than others. I've not always had this. It's only been fairly recently. But anyway, so I've already done that. So yeah, I was looking on the forum about just to see if there was anything interesting happening or whatever, and I came across this thread about Open PvE. So I took a look in, and I read the majority of the posts. Some of it was sensible discussion, some of it was the usual people just belittling other people and calling them, cowards, and the usual Care Bear thing, which is really annoying, because they're the people who just don't get it. So what's it all about? Well, it's not. At first I thought this was something that Frontier had proposed, and that people were having a discussion about it and saying what they thought. And obviously some people were against the idea and some people were for the idea. So Open PvE is basically, it would be basically like player versus environments. They're similar to what you have in solo or a private group. In fact, it's exactly the same as what Mobius is. It's a group where you have players, but they don't, or they're not allowed to attack each other. So I forgot to mute that one. So I don't know, I think somebody was putting forward a poll for if people wanted Frontier to implement an Open PvE group. Now, I can see both sides of the coin on this one. I can see why people would want it, and I can see why people wouldn't want it, and I can understand arguments from both camps, because there are legitimate concerns in both camps. The problem, I think, is that some people from one camp doesn't understand the concerns from the other, and vice versa. So it is a controversial and sensitive subject, especially when we're talking in terms of griefers and gankers and stuff like that. So griefing and ganking, this is what it all boils down to, I think. Some people take exception to being griefed or ganked by other players. And the surprising thing is that is surprising to some other players, that they should take exception to it, that they should mind that. Some players actually believe that, oh, it's all part of the game. And of course, I haven't seen it in the thread, but somebody's at some point is going to say it's not called Elite Dangerous for nothing. Someone's going to use that tired old line incorrectly again. So if I'm slow on what I'm saying, it's because I'm kind of winging this. I'm having to think what I want to say, because I know what I want to say, but I just don't try not to miss anything out. So anyway, let's have a look at griefing and ganking. I will talk about that. Griefing, the definition of griefing, initially, I believe, is somebody who will, a player who will attack another player in a game and repeatedly attack that same player. And so, not necessarily an Elite Dangerous, but if you were to put it in the context of Elite Dangerous, then it would be a case maybe of you exiting a station and another commander blows you up, and then you end up back at that station for a rebuy. You venture out again, he blows you up, and it's the same commander blowing you up again and again and again. That's griefing. That was the original griefing. Now griefing is kind of metamorphosized into meaning just a player killing a player, even if it's only the one time. So fair enough, let's go with that definition. So some people take exception to being, as it's been phrased in the forum, somebody else's content. I don't want to be somebody else's game content just for their laughs, and I understand that. And some other people will say, well, it's part of the game, that some people will role play as the psychotic murderer. To which I will think, well, okay, but what's going on in your head? What kind of mentality do you have that you need to fulfill that role? Because why, you've chosen that role because of a reason, because it will give you your fun at the expense of somebody else's, and you're kind of shoving their feelings aside or whatever. Like it doesn't matter because it's Elite Dangerous. It's an open world game and everybody's a fair target. So screw their feelings, screw their rebuy costs, and screw how hard they've worked. If they don't like it, go to solo, blah blah blah. But when people do go to solo and open play starts emptying, there's going to be less targets for them. And then I don't know, it's like these are the players who will object to an Open PvE format without realizing that they're the ones that are actually causing it. And then you've got gankers. Gankers are probably worse than griefers, because gankers are people who will pick a fight with an easy target. Somebody perhaps in a Corvette who interdicts a Type 7, and that's it. Takes them out. Easy kill. Or maybe you'll get a player who's in a further lance being interdicted by a wing of 4 further lances. Again, it's probably going to not work out too well for the guy on his own. And then you'll get people who will say, well, yeah, well, and okay, don't cry about it. Get a wing of your own. But, it's not that simple. You can't just... Because getting a wing takes time to organize. You've got to have friends. You've got to want to do it first. And more often than not, you don't want to do that. You just want to get on with your own game and just do your own thing. You don't want to be, oh, I know, I'll stop doing what I was doing and I'll go and recruit a wing now. So now I've got to pick people, oh, hi, are you available at this time to wing up with me? And then we'll just fly around the galaxy. And then now you're doing something you didn't want to do. So gankers basically just pick on easy targets. So, and then you've got people who will ram into you deliberately. I've had that happen to me once in open play, where I was rammed outside a station by a player in a small ship. I think it was a Cobra, and of course, because they die, you get a bounty, and then the station opens fire on you and you die. Now, that gameplay happens, okay? It's there, it's in the game. We all know it. Some of us accept it, some of us don't. So, to put this to bed quickly, does Frontier need to create an Open PvE group? I would say I can understand the reasons why that people would want one, and indeed why there should be one. But would I vote for it? No, I would not. I wouldn't. The people who want to play with other players, not necessarily not to be fired on. I mean, these people should not be called Care Bears. They shouldn't be belittled like that. And anybody who comes on and says, oh yeah, well, these Care Bears want to be in a safe space, well, you missed the point completely. They're not Care Bears at all. They just don't want that kind of gameplay. Now, for me personally, I don't mind PvP, but I like it to be done properly, in the proper sense of the game. I understand that you're going to get the occasional, someone who just wants to kill you, but have a reason, have a reason. I think for me there's only 2 scenarios where I would accept being killed by another player. And by accept, I mean not complain about it or not be annoyed about it afterwards. And that is, if a player kills me because I've got a bounty on my head, you know, I've acquired a bounty by doing something and I didn't manage to clear it or pay it off or whatever, and they've come to claim it and I'm wanted in that system or whatever, fine, that's a legitimate kill. If you get me before I can get to safety, that's a legit kill. It's part of the game. You accept it, you do the rebuy, you move on. And in fact, it's a good part of the game. It's like, okay, I've been blown up, but I kind of don't mind, because that's a proper kill. You know, there was a reason behind it. I had a bounty on my head. I was wanted. A commander saw that I was wanted. He interdicted me. This is just a hypothetical situation here, and blew me up. Or I'm in a, let me say, a resource extraction site, and there's more than one commander in there. I shoot on a clean ship just by accident. Suddenly I get a wanted on me for maybe, I don't know, 200 credits or whatever it is now. And of course, if there's any feds in that res zone, they're going to turn on you. So it's only fair that if a commander's there and he suddenly spots that now you're wanted, that he can have a go too. If you get away, fine. If you shoot him down first, even better. But if he kills you, that's a legitimate kill. And you can't go on the forum and whinge and say, oh, commander this did this. No, you don't get to do that. That's legitimate kill. The other scenario is during piracy, which in the early days I had a couple of people pirating me, but it was done properly. It wasn't just, interdict, in, kill. No conversation, no nothing. When I got pirated, there was comms always. I would be interdicted. This is when I was doing my rares runs, and I would have a shipload of rares ready to make profit in this station. So I'd be in an asp like I am now, and I would just find myself getting interdicted by probably a python, which fully armed I'm not really gonna have too much of a chance, especially against a pilot who might be a bit more skilled than I am, and especially when they're sat behind me. So I get an interdiction, and the moment, these guys timed their comms to perfection. The moment I was interdicted, they must have had macros or something. I used to get the comms message saying, power down your engines and prepare for a scan. Now the adrenaline's flowing. Now I'm getting a little bit more of a buzz, because I don't know what's going to happen. Is this guy just going to kill me anyway? Is he going to ask for my stuff and then let me go? I don't know what's going to happen. I'm buzzing. My heart rate is increasing. So I power down the engines and I get a cargo scan, and I'm carrying 80 tons. And the guy says, I want you to drop 10 tons of, I don't know, Lavian brandy or whatever the hell I was carrying. And I've got 80 tons. So he wants 1/10 of my cargo. Now, I've worked and gone a long way to get all this stuff. But I'd rather lose 10% than everything. But, so I would just drop the cargo. I'd drop the 10 and he'd say, okay, now be on your way. And if by that time you don't move and go on your way, then they'll kill you, because they want you out of the way so that they can pick up your cargo without risk of you turning around and firing on them while they're picking your cargo up, you see. And so they would say thank you, and they'd actually say fly safe, Commander, which was kind of weird. And off I would go, 10 tons lighter. But it was brilliant. It was thrilling, is the word. It was a thrill to have that happen. And then the second time it happened, it was a different commander, but very similar circumstances. Power down your engines, don't move. And he asked for some certain tonnage. And I thought, right, should I start a little argument with him? Should I try and run? Can I get away? Can I jump before he kills me? And I started talking to him. What happens if I don't? Oh, then I'll kill you. Okay. Because there was probably a time when I was starting to get sick of this now. So I said, well, okay, instead of me dropping X amount, how about I drop Y amount instead, quoting a lower amount. And then he'd go, no, how about you drop this? And we'd have a figure somewhere in the middle. So I thought, okay. So now I'm dropping less than he originally wanted, but more than I would have liked to have negotiated down to. So I dropped that cargo. And then he says, right, thank you, be on your way. And I leave him, and I'm watching him picking up my stuff as I'm leaving, and I super cruise away, and that's it, done. That is PvP for me. That's PvP. Proper interaction. There's still a risk you will get killed. You can choose to turn and fight this pirate or the bounty hunter. You might win, you might lose. With the bounty hunter, it's not a case of negotiating, really. They want the kill, or maybe you can negotiate. Maybe you can be carrying stuff or saying, look, my bounty's only, while you're being shot at, you quickly type a message, my bounty's only 1,000 credits. If you spare me, I'll drop you 10,000 in cargo. You make more that way. Like a bribe. But there's interaction there between the two, and there's risk, and there's adrenaline, and that for me is PvP. Now, if PvP in Elite Dangerous was only like that, if it was proper player interaction, I would always be in open play. I would be glad to be there, because that's the type of gameplay that I want. Unfortunately, there's a few bad apples there that spoil it for the good PvPers. And they're the ones that are driving people into groups like Mobius and solo play, because they simply don't want the hassle. And it also comes down to some players are more casual than others. They don't spend too much time, because they don't have the time to spend a lot of hours in Elite Dangerous, and so they will the stuff that they've accumulated, it's probably taken them longer, and then some mindless knobhead comes along and just, oh, there's a guy with a Type 9 or something, I'm in an Anaconda, let's just shoot him for no particular reason other than he's got a hollow square on the sensor. Bang, explosion, ha ha ha, let's move on to the next one. No one wants that, man. Nobody needs that. How many people out there who are saying yes, calling other people Care Bears and cowards, are happy if they're the ones getting killed for no reason? And even if they tell you they are, they're not. Nobody wants to just lose a ship for no reason. Nobody. And if you do, well, maybe there's something wrong with you too. And yeah, you can easily say, well, man up and all this crap and go and get yourself a big ship, but it's people have got different skill levels. Sometimes maybe the person who got victimized there will never be at the skill level of the person who killed them, and if they want to go after that person, there's no mechanics in the game to find where they are and track them down and chase them. So why can't Frontier why shouldn't Frontier put an Open PvE? Well, two reasons. One, we already have Mobius. So the fact that people are whinging and complaining on that forum about people who want this feature, it's pointless. Because anybody who wants an open PvE, it's already there. So Mobius already exists. So it's not like they're complaining about this new feature that, you know, people are trying to get Frontier to put into their game. Because Mobius already does that. And Mobius, I'm sure, isn't the only group that does that. So the other thing is that because Mobius exists, if Frontier did one, it would further fragment and spread out the players. Any player who wants to be in a PvE environment where there's other players but they're not killing each other, you have Mobius already. It's right there, it's ready-made, it's done. You don't need Frontier to do one. And Frontier shouldn't do one because the last thing they need is further fragmentation of players. So what should Frontier do? Well, in my opinion, Frontier should ignore the cries of these people who want open PvE, even though, let's not forget what I said, I do I sympathize with them completely, simply because I'm totally against all the griefing and the ganking, and I don't feel that there is an excuse for it. Yes, you can make the excuse that people just want to role play the psychotic killer, but I'm not buying that. I'm not subscribing to that thought process. That's just idiotic, because they know that all they're doing is ruining somebody else's game and pissing them off. They know that. So, and why should some people be happy to be, or be satisfied with being killed for laughs just because it might be somebody else's desire of how they should play the game? The solution, in my book, is a crime and punishment system. And it's been said before, and it is the solution. This is what needs to be worked on, not this further fragmentation with another group. How that would work, I don't really know. But something where if a player kills a clean player, there are repercussions that he will have to deal with, whether it be NPCs coming after him or players coming after him. Now, how do you get that? How does that happen? Well, somebody in the forum thread, I'll put a link in the video description, but somebody in the forum thread, I can't remember his forum name now, it began with a K. I don't agree with the guy's attitude particularly. He's one of these guys who calls people Care Bears and stuff like that, so immediately it's like, you know, I'm not on this guy's side. But he did make a very good suggestion on one of his posts, referring to, and he's right what he was saying. He was saying that again, this does cause further fragmentation, and that Frontier should instead do a crime and punishment system. This was exactly my thought. It's always been the solution that I thought is the only solution. So at least me and him agreed on that. Now, where the hell am I here? I don't know where I am here. Oh yeah, I do now. Sorry, I'm lost in the game now. Give me a second. Right, there we go. I'm going to lose where I am in what I was saying now. So yeah, and he put forward a suggestion for crime and punishment that, and this would take some implementation, but if a player kills you, that perhaps on the rebuy screen you can put out your own bounty on that player, and that gets added to bulletin boards, I suppose, or mission boards in and around the system. And the moment you put that warrant out, he becomes wanted in the system. This is me now talking. This is me giving these ideas. You put a wanted. Oh, sorry. The moment you put a warrant out, he becomes wanted in that system where he kills you. But also on the mission board, within that faction, maybe. I don't know how wide this could be. You could put out something where it would appear as a mission to kill this guy. And NPCs can maybe go after him because he's now wanted himself. Of course, he would be wanted in that system unless it was anarchy. This is starting to get confusing. Anyway, so basically it's a system where a player could effectively issue a warrant or put a bounty on that guy's head. And let's say the bounty comes off your bank balance. So let's say I've got 41 million here. So let's say I'll go, I want this guy dead, right? So I'll offer 5 million. 5 million as a mission for someone, and I will create that mission, and it stays on maybe a separate board, maybe another assassin mission board, because you've got the passenger lounge, you've got maybe just a different section where you can find player kill missions. But then they'd need to implement a way where it would tell you the system they were last seen in and stuff like that. And yeah, that's my thought anyway. Some kind of crime and punishment system is the answer. How you implement that, though, is another thing altogether. And I'm not really sure. I haven't thought that through, really. But I think that would be the way. There has to be some way of having a player who kills a clean player, either by ramming or by normal means. But then, how do you separate that and being pirated? I suppose it's down to player discretion, really, isn't it? I mean, if you get pirated the proper way, like I said, where there's comms, drop your stuff, and then maybe you decide, yeah, you know what, screw you, I'm not going to drop my stuff, I'm going to try and make a run for it, and the pirate kills you, you can either go, okay, I took a gamble, I tried to run for it, I didn't make it, I got killed, too bad for me. Or you can put a bounty on his head, I suppose. But then that might then put pirates off. So it is complicated. This is not an easy thing. What I do know is that creating yet another game mode is not the answer. We've got solo, we've got private groups, we've got open play. I think that covers all the bases. Because now you have solo for yourself, you have private groups, which is exactly that. You have other commanders in there, and the group creator, I suppose, creates his own rules, whether there can be player kills in there or not. I think a good group would be one where players can kill players, but only for legitimate reasons. And not liking the guy is not a legitimate reason. I'm talking about if the guy's got a bounty on his head, he's a legitimate target. If you pirate him and you scan his cargo and he's got something you want and you ask him to give it to you, or risk being killed, and he decides either to run or try and fight you and he loses, it's a legitimate kill, it doesn't count. But kills for laughs and stuff like that are not allowed, and yeah, you would be banned or whatever from the group. So it's kind of all up in the air, all, you know, you can't really just come up with a solution just like that. But when somebody tries to come up with a solution like an open PvE mode from Frontier, and you just know it's not the right solution because there's a better way. But if they can't implement a crime and punishment system, does that make Open PvE a viable solution then? No. No, it doesn't, because, again, Mobius exists already. It's already there. So that option already exists on the table. You don't need another one. So these people who say no, we don't need this, you know, I fully agree. But the people who want it, I understand why they want it, completely understand it. And the problem is that people who don't understand it, people who think that commanders should just suck it up when they get killed by another commander for no reason, you know, interdict, no comms, kill, done. And maybe he's in, because you get these ships where it's the pilot's intention, or the commander's intention, the player's intention is to do this. He's already premeditated this. He says, right, what I'm going to do is go out and just kill players for laughs. But wait a minute. For that, I need a good ship. And what I mean by that is one that's been engineered to the max for combat. You know, so every single weapon's been maxed out. The hulls, shield cell banks, this thing is built to kill people. And that's it. They go in and do it, either by themselves or in a wing. And if somebody complains that they've been killed for no reason, they seem to have a problem with that. They can't understand why somebody would complain, why somebody would take exception to that. It's like being murdered in the street for no reason, and as you're dying there, your last breath is you complaining about it. It's like, hey man, you know, it's a dangerous world, it happens. It's not the answer. I mean, if the roles were reversed and it happened to you regularly, you know, where a player took you out for no reason and then another one took you out for no reason, don't tell me that you would say, yeah, I'd be okay with it, it's part of the game. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. So, anyway, I just wanted to put this video out there, just me jabbering about that, just give you my opinions. Please give me yours as well, but in a nice way. You know, you don't have to be, I'm sure you are. I know my subscribers are all good people, so I don't worry about those guys. But yeah, I think it's a very contentious subject. People are sensitive about it on both sides, and I do understand both sides. I do get the PvP thing, that, you know, it is meant to be, people enjoy the thrill of PvP because they don't know what's around the corner, they don't know what that player's going to do, is he going to be, you know, and I get that, and I agree with that, but I'd rather be thinking, I don't know if this player's going to pirate me or bounty hunt me because I'm wanted, is he going to leave me alone? I just like proper gameplay though from other players, and by that I mean what I've explained before, which is gameplay that is, I don't know what to say. If I say behaved gameplay, it's gonna make people go, oh yeah, he wants it where people pirate you or bounty hunt you, but they behave themselves. No, it's not what I'm saying. The risk is still there. You know, you might get some guy who pirates you. He's not in a particularly good mood, so he's not going to take any crap off you. So he's just going to say, I'm only going to ask you this once, drop your stuff and leave. You've got, 10 seconds or something. And if you don't do it, you get killed, whatever. So, I mean, which is better? Which scenario is better? The interdiction, the comms, and then you choose. You choose whether you want to comply, run, or turn around and take the guy on. I'm just thinking there. If you want to take on another commander just for the hell of it, pick somebody on your own level. Pick somebody maybe with the same ship, with the same rank. Not somebody who's got the same rank but a lesser ship. Somebody who's decided he's going to do a bit of trading for a while, and you're in a fully armed corvette. No. Pick on another commander in a corvette with the same rank as you. Give yourself that challenge. See if you win. If you win, hey man, good for you. But if you lose, but I've got a feeling that people who want to kill players for no reason don't want to accept a challenge like that. And the players who are willing or would be willing are not the kind of players who need to go around and just kill other players anyway, because they don't have to prove it. But if somebody picks a fight with them, then they're more than capable of taking it to them. It's like this argument as well, where you get people who complain at other people because they've said that the AI is too difficult, and then Frontier turn down the AI or retune the AI, like what is going to be happening in the new 2.2 beta. And then I hear people complaining, you get a few loud voices saying the AI is too hard, blah, 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 and then the Care Bear stuff comes out again. And so they complain, and then Elite nerf it and make it too easy. Okay, well, if it's too easy, then why don't you have a go in Open? Or by saying that, am I dismissing all the arguments I've made thus far? Now, I understand that argument or that complaint. Not about the AI being too hard, but the people who are complaining about the people who are complaining. If they are good combat pilots, then they like the AI hard or a bit of a challenge because that's what they want, because it's their level. Unfortunately, not everybody is on the same skill level, and this is where the problem comes in. So it's up to Frontier to balance the AI, and that they have done this in a way where the AI that interacts with you or becomes hostile with you generally is around or on or above your skill level. Like, I'm deadly, and I sometimes get interdicted by deadly or elite ships. But tweaking that balance, if they tweaked it so that it was perfect for me, I guarantee you it wouldn't be perfect for the next deadly pilot. You know? So it's a difficult one to do, and to please everybody, well, it's just not going to happen, is it? It's just not going to happen. You cannot please everybody. So even finding a happy medium somewhere is going to be very, very difficult, because you've got very skilled combat pilots, and you've got newbies, and you've got people who have been in the game for a long time, but they're not skilled pilots because combat was never their thing. Maybe they're into exploration, maybe they're into trading, maybe, you know, they just can't do combat very well. And so when an interdiction happens, they're hoping that they at least have some kind of a fair chance. You can't... I've just thought of something, actually. I've just thought of a possible solution for that, but I don't know if it's workable. What about a system where AI are at a certain level, a base level within the game, okay? So that the elite AI are at a particular... They fight at a particular difficulty level. The deadly also do it on their level, but a bit lower, and so on and so on and so on, okay? And then you get these ships interdicting you. Maybe if you're deadly, starting off with maybe dangerous ships. And every time there's an interdiction, or every time you engage in combat or kill an AI, whether it be in a resource extraction site or a conflict zone or a nav beacon or whatever, whenever there's a kill, there's some algorithm there that works out how easy that was for you in that ship, and it sets an offset, a difficulty offset, which is stored locally on your game, okay? And then the next one that interdicts you has got that difficulty level plus or minus that offset. So for example, if the difficulty level of the ship that attacked you was 150 and it was an easy kill, so now it's added 30 on, so the next one will be 180. If the next rank up is 180, then you'll get interdicted by that next, or taken on by that next rank. Oh, I'm describing this very badly. Okay, let's just stick with interdictions. So you're hauling cargo, and oh, I want some of that cargo. So the next ship that interdicts you is on that 180 level, or somewhere around it. I'm basically talking about adaptive AI. AI that adapts to your skill level, but your skill level per ship, because you're going to have different skills with different ships. For example, I know I'm probably a bit of a better combat pilot in my Fer-de-Lance than I am in my Corvette. Not down to firepower, but down to the maneuverability of the ship. I can do more in the Fer-de-Lance because it's more agile, and same with the Vulture. The Vulture is very agile, and it's like an AI which thinks, okay, maybe even take rank out of it. Just an AI, maybe a novice AI, but he fights you on your level. I don't know. Something like an adaptive AI based on each single player. And you have a combat offset number in your player file or whatever. And every time you get an interdiction, maybe not in a what do you call it, a nav beacon or a res zone, because you're going to get different ranks there anyway, and that's just the way of the game. Is sometimes I'm gonna kill a novice, sometimes I'm gonna kill a master. But if ships are going to interdict me or going to have a go at me, then they're on that rank level. You know, so if I'm deadly and I'm killing deadly ships fairly easily, like if I don't attain any damage, then the game will go, that was an easy kill, we'll add an offset for the next one. But let's say that offset is 30. But if I, for example, I can already see a flaw in this, by the way, but if I, for example, instead of annihilating the guy, I take some damage myself, so my shields are down, maybe I've lost a bit of hull, my shields have come back, it incorporates that. So instead of the offset going up to 30, it may only go up by 5. Say, well, he won the battle, but it was difficult, so we'll just up it a little bit next time, and then we'll just keep it around that level. And so all you need to do then, I suppose an exploit for that would be allow the AI to give you a lot of damage and still get away, and then the offset reduces. But I think the offset should only change if you're once one of the two ships have been killed. Yeah. So I don't know. I can see a flaw there, but I'm trying to think of some way of an adaptive AI that adapts to you specifically. So there's not like, you have a base level within the whole game for everybody, but as it's like when I do my sim racing, in some of the racing simulations you have an adaptive AI. So you go out on the track in practice mode. It's like a practice session, and you have you have other cars on the track, and they're at a certain level, and they're lapping at a certain level. And based on your lap times and your sector times and stuff like that, the AI difficulty starts adjusting. It starts adapting based on your performance. Even during a race, it can readapt, so that the AI isn't too good and it's not too bad either. It's always going to give you a challenge in and around your level. Sometimes it might be a bit better than you, in which case you're going to be maybe in for a bit of a tougher time. Sometimes it might be a bit easier, you know, than your level. So we have that in racing simulations. Whether it can be incorporated in Elite per player per ship, I don't know. But anyway, I have rambled on, another one of Rusty's rambles, for long enough, and you've had to listen to me. And if I know a lot of people do listen, 76, Jesus. I know a lot of people do listen to me as opposed to watching sometimes. So this is one for the listeners. Oh my God. If I say yes to this, I'm going to be here. Look at this. I mean, okay, once I'm down here, once I've traveled this far, these are going to be easy. Oh my God. I can't. I've got too many neutron stars to go through. I really can't do this. So anyway, yeah, that's the case for Open PvE. I understand why people want it. If Mobius didn't exist, I would say, yeah, I can see a need for it, let's do it. Or I think Frontier should do it. But that would be if the only two modes were solo and open. Then I would say, yeah, that would be a good idea. But it's done. It's done already. Mobius have beaten everybody to the punch a long time ago. So, we don't need another one. Simple. So, there you go. And that wraps this one up. Thanks for listening to my dribble, and catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.